PM 514. How are you guys? I want to make a quick video talking more about the Natomas outreach, which I wrote about for my case study. First, it should be noted that in Natomas there are two regions. Northern Natomas, which is more middle class, um, and Southern Natomas, which is more lower class. And our church represents both. And so when I'm saying Natomas outreach, the two regions actually are quite different from one another, though both do have their own unique diversity. Within that, we have been in the past, and I talk about this briefly in the paper. In the past, we made thousands of handouts. I call them pamphlets. They're about the size of this. This is obviously not it. And the idea was what worked in the past. I don't know the success of it. I don't know how they were measuring success. It was before my time. However, they said people showed up, people mentioned they had gotten them. I don't know the spiritual growth or the discipleship that followed. I don't know how many people were just passing through because they got the pamphlet. But what I do know is that I've done similar things in the past, and they aren't particularly great for long term, and the percentage of people that are going to come in for how many you're going to make is going to be very low. I've given thousands upon thousands to have dozens total show up. I don't know how they were, again, I don't know how they were measuring the success. My idea was, my experiment with this Natomas outreach is not a program. And I want to be clear that it's not a program. I don't think it's something that, even if they say it's not successful, that we have to cut it. For me, it's a way of life. And so it's probably going to be, I'm not sure how you grade something like that, but if we're going to have pamphlets, the idea is we have these. There are already community events. There is a very large car show that happens, actually will be happening in September, and it happens Sunday. It basically starts when people show up early. You can do it early. I was thinking about bringing my car at like 8 a.m., dropping it off. I have a classic car, dropping it off, do church, spend the rest of the day with them. So while it is on a Sunday, typically, it's still an area in which we can do outreach. And this is something that has happened, something that is very successful, something that's going to happen again. And it's, within 2 minutes drive. It's in the same vicinity. It's a high school right next to the high school we're at. And so, there's that happens. There's a huge flag football league that happens in the field right next to ours. There's cricket. There's these gentlemen that play cricket, and no one has ever interacted with them. And that is probably our biggest problem, is that there are a lot of things that are happening Sunday morning. And it's hard for us to first be there, because we do church in the morning, and our congregation isn't large enough. We don't have enough money. We don't pay people enough, and we don't have our own building. So for us to change our time or add another time isn't really feasible. It doesn't really make sense, because you'll get people that'll leave for that reason. And I don't want to measure success on the number of people we have there, and I don't also want to be complacent. I don't want to just stay where we're at and be afraid to do things. But with this experiment, for me, there's no harm. So if we have an idea of the things people are doing, and the things people will be doing, it makes sense for us to go there. And being from a lower income environment myself, I do understand what it's like, to have people kind of go door to door to kind of push their agenda, and it doesn't really work. There's usually not a whole lot of there's not a whole lot of success in the spiritual growth and discipleship realm. Um, what we have to do then is build relationships. We have to not only build a bridge of love, we have to cross it. We have to be on their turf. We have to let them have the upper hand. We have to feel uncomfortable. Um, there's a lot that's on us to do, and to make them feel like we're doing it because we care. And we should. It's not like a facade. We're not putting on a mask that we care. We should care. We should engage them with the things that they love. And if that means in the future starting a team, and they don't every team doesn't play every week, so it might be, hey, I'm gonna miss one Sunday this month because I'm playing flag football, but I will love on them. I will do church while I play flag football. I will do it to the glory of God, and I will be Christ-like where I am. Um, and I think in doing that, and the success that I have seen from this, personally, I did jujitsu for a while, and by doing that and getting beaten up and having a great attitude and being there with people, I was actually able to, when the trust was built, when they knew I actually cared about them, when they felt comfortable being uncomfortable. That is when they come to our church. Everybody knows everybody for the most part. If you're not a mega church, and so when a new person shows up, they don't quite fit in. They feel like an outcast. They aren't sure how to take things. And you also hear people say, "Oh man, I should have come to church more often," but then they may not show up again for whatever reason. It's not for me. Um, Going to these things isn't for us to let them see us push our agenda onto them, which is also what it feels like we would be doing with just handing out a pamphlet. I mean, if that's the case, we should go door to door and just knock. That would actually probably be better, because with a pamphlet, for all we know, um, you could be putting them in, on a car window. You could be putting them on a door. You could be putting them in a mailbox. There's no accountability, and at that point, you are just pushing an agenda. And it's not to say that people may not feel that if we had these and did it anyways, or even if we didn't, and eventually it got brought up, I'm with the church over here, and you're more than welcome to come. We'd love to have you. You dress however you want. They might still feel like we're pushing an agenda, but at least that way we've started a relationship. Um, I like to think of it in the terms of, I'll make a quick shift. Um, in the Army, if I call you into my office and you have to be there for something, I can't proselytize. I can't force Jesus down your throat. Um, it's not allowed. But what I can do is I can go to each unit's department. If you're working on the motor pool, I can go over there. Heavy machinery, I can go over there. If you are doing admin stuff, I can go over there. As a chaplain candidate, I can go wherever I want, and I just meet with soldiers. I meet them literally where they are, and I get to know them. I get to know who they are, where they're from, what their hobbies are, what they want to go to school for, why they joined the army, what their family life is like. And what it does is it builds up trust. Eventually, they're willing and comfortable enough coming into my office with things that they might not have otherwise wanted to talk about. From there, I I don't, unless it's something they bring up, push my faith onto them. Um, they know at some point, um, it becomes known, whether it's in the army or somewhere else, that my faith is very important to me. But so is me. Um, if you come to me broken, I want to fix what's broken. I don't want to manipulate the situation. And so, if I go to where someone is in the neighborhood of Natomas, I care about who they are. I want to get to know them. They tell me something and I run into them again. I want to ask them about it. Hey, you said that your sister was sick, or your daughter had chicken pox. How's that going? Everything cleared up? They might think, why do you even remember that? Why are you asking me about that? But there's meaning behind it. It shows that I care. It shows that I love them. It shows that they are valued and they are important. In the local theology book, it talks about Jesus being in a particular context, in a particular place, in a particular time, but also not being of the world. I kind of talk about not being of the world, being in the world, but not of the world in my paper. That was kind of where I had thought about that. Um, we are in this place. We are in this time. We are in this context. Me, you, whomever. Let's be there. Let's be there. But let's also be a light. People might ask, hey, all right, man, why do you care? Why are you here? Why are you talking to me? Well, I'm from the church. We're in the area. We actually just want to come and get to know people. Maybe don't even welcome them. Or, I mean, you do welcome them. But, I mean, don't say, well, hey, you're welcome to come. You know, say, hey, that's it. So tell me more about you. You know, show a genuine interest. Be intentional. Um, and be patient. Christopher Smith and John Pattinson talk about that in Slow Church. Being patient. And also the idea of he talks about the school that mimicked the mega churches programs. So for me, us not labeling this a program and letting it be an experiment, or maybe letting it be a way of life, letting it be organic and fluid, you know, it's going to be different. I don't want to label it a program because programs end, programs change. I don't know that this should. Even if people don't come to our church and decide to come to another, for me that's success. If there are conversations about Jesus that hadn't happened before, that's success. If people want to know more about Jesus, want to come to our church, success. Um, so, so for me, that is far more important. Um, but gosh, I could talk about this forever, but YouTube only lets me have 15 minutes, so I'm gonna go ahead and cut it. Um, and if you guys have any questions, feel free. Comment. I'll get back to you, and I will be seeing you guys soon. Thanks, and God bless.